is resource person, outstanding technician, technocrat from Technopark, Trivandrum, with a lot of experience in design thinking and developing design thinkers. So today's program is simply unique. This program is going to be given live through this channel, Google Meet, and this will also be uploaded in Mathew Training College YouTube. So I have a humble request to all the participants, since the topic is highly significant and since this topic would affect enormous changes in our lives, we would recommend to send the brochure and link to your colleagues and students so that everyone can benefit from the program. Now, this is organized by the research scholars of Mathew Training College. Over to you, research scholars.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to our 33rd talk of Insight In-Depth Invited Talk series hosted by the research wing of the prestigious Mathew Training College. Thank you all for finding time and being here. Myself, Sanila Manoj, research scholar, Mathew Training College. Let us seek the blessing of Almighty with a prayer before we start our program. Please be paused for a while.
സത്യവും സ്നേഹവും ജ്ഞാനവും ശക്തിയും ഒത്തുവിളങ്ങിടും തമ്പുരാനേ, ഞങ്ങൾ തന്നുള്ളിലെ അന്ധത നീക്കുവാൻ അങ്ങു വെളിച്ചം ചൊരിഞ്ഞിടേണം. നേരായ മാർഗത്തിലൂടെ ചരിക്കുവാൻ പോരായ്മയൊക്കെയും തീർത്തിടേണം. ഭാരതത്തിനഭിമാനപാത്രങ്ങളാൽ തീരുവാൻ ഞങ്ങളെ കാത്തിടേണം. നന്മയിലേക്കു നയിക്ക നീ ഞങ്ങളെ, ചിന്മയാതൃപദം കൂപ്പിടുന്നേ. സത്യവും സ്നേഹവും ജ്ഞാനവും ശക്തിയും ഒത്തുവിളങ്ങിടും തമ്പുരാനേ.
Thank you, everyone. Before we start, a humble reminder to our dear participants. Please mute your audio and video unless you are asked to unmute to avoid any distraction. If you have any queries related to the meeting, please type them in the chat box. After the talk, there will be a deliberation time. At that time, our resource person will clear your doubts. This webinar is recorded and will be uploaded to the YouTube of MTTC Research, MTTC official channel. So you can also get the link in your Insight In-Depth WhatsApp groups. At the end of the meeting, feedback link will be provided and it will be shared through the chat box. Only those who submit the feedback form will receive the e-certificate through the email ID which you enter in the feedback form. I humbly request everyone to kindly pursue the instructions for the smooth conduct of the meeting. Kindly cooperate. Thank you. May I now invite Mrs. Smriti S. Pillai, research scholar, Mathew Training College, for the welcome address. Over to you, Smriti.
Thank you, Sanla. Am I audible?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Warm greetings to everyone present here. On behalf of Research Wing of the prestigious institution, Mathew Training College, I proudly welcome you all to the 33rd Insight In-Depth Talk series. A man with great vision and mission and an icon for hard work. He is our principal, Dr. K.Y. Benedict sir, who has crossed the boundaries of excellence with his great spirit towards profession. I welcome you, sir. I warmly and respectfully welcome towards welcome today's resource person, Mr. Markkose Mathew Sir, presently working in Mozanta Technologies, Technopark, Trivandrum. He is the right person for the topic UI, UX, and design thinking. I welcome you, sir. Next, I would like to welcome our motivational spirit for our research wing and for the old college, Dr. Jojo Jones, sir, our research coordinator. I welcome you, sir, to this program. With great pleasure, I would also wish to welcome all the participants, teachers, research guides, and researchers to this program. Last but not least, I extend my warm welcome to all the members of MTTC family. I welcome you all. Once again, I welcome you all to this program. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Smriti.
Sandra.
Thank you. So our topic for today is design thinking and UI and UX. So for introducing our guest of honor, let me welcome Soumya D, our secretary. Please, Soumya, over to you.
Thank you, Sanila. Good evening. So audible, Sanila?
Yes,
Hello?
Soumya. Well, please continue. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, honorable dignitaries and dear participants. It's my immense pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Markkose Mathew, to Insight In-Depth Invited Talk. Today's topic is about UI UX design thinking, which is currently the most trending topic in this fourth industrial revolution. It is a deeply human process that taps into abilities we all have. And Markkose sir would be the apt person to take us through the topic. Before I hand over the task to sir, a few words about him. A noted web designer, UX researcher, and a design thinker. Currently, he works as a lead UX UI designer for the organization Mozanta Technologies in Technopark, Trivandrum. He had completed BTech in Information Technology from Government Engineering College, Barton Hill, Trivandrum. He has more than 18 years of experience in the IT industry. His main focus is into human-centered research techniques to uncover, understand, and validate insights. Finally, it's my great privilege to introduce Markkose sir to the webinar and make a memorable moment for all the participants who are attending this session. I welcome sir and let us hear more about the concepts of design thinking with practical experiences. Thank you, Sanila.
Hello, before
Thank you,
commencing the
Soumya.
program, a humble request to all the participants. Today's topic is highly significant and it is very useful to all the teachers, student teachers, and all human beings. And this will help us to improve our life skills as well. So, all the participants who are attending today's program are requested to send the brochure and link to your friends, colleagues, and students. Thank you very much. Now, dear Mathew sir, the platform is yours, sir. Kindly begin. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So first of all, I'd like to, is my sound audible?
Yes, sir, it's audible. Thank
Okay,
you.
fine, perfect, yeah. So first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Benedict, then Dr. Jojo John, and other esteemed research guides, research scholars, and my dear participants. So as you know that today's topic is about design thinking. So a lot of people, they have a misconception about design thinking because we were the guys who were working in this field from years and all. So years back, this concept came very recently, and maybe it might be very famous in abroad and all. But nowadays, it's becoming a boom in India also, and even the projects, whatever we do in companies, we have to follow this technique, the design thinking. So let me do one thing. I have a presentation, so let me share the screen. Hold on, I'm just sharing it. So is my screen shared?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, perfect. So as you know that I'm from Mozanta, so I work for Mozanta as a lead UI UX designer. So I'll just give a few words about Mozanta, about the company. So Mozanta is a company in Technopark in Dubai, and in Ernakulam also we have a branch which was opened recently. And this company is behind building e-commerce applications. So that's what we do. So that's a business. And let's talk about the presentation. So coming to the presentation part, we have the contents list, which where I'll be covering things related to design thinking, then UI and UX, and then why design thinking, features of design thinking, convergent and divergent thinking, design thinking process. Then the process, like design thinking has 5 processes, which are empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and testing. So these are the things what we'll go in deep. What I'll do is that I just go through the theoretical part and both the practical part, because as we have worked in this field for a quite long time, so I can just go on in deep in this topic. So about design thinking. When we listen for the first time, because when we work with colleagues or with our friends, many times I have asked to my friends, what do you know about design thinking? So many people, even from the IT industry, like we have people who work for the mobile, people who work in the web design development, there are some software testers. So whenever we talk to everybody in a company, everybody has a misconception about this process. Like everybody will say, this is something related to a designer, because the term is design thinking. So people always say that it is not my cup of tea, it is something related to design. So that is what I'm trying to say in this talk, that design thinking is not for the designers, but it's for the entire people in this world. When I say entire people in this world, it means it is not only for the technology people. Many people has a misunderstanding. Only the technology people can do or work in this design thinking. It's a process where everybody, even the housewife or even my mom, if she learns the concept of design thinking, even she can do things better. So in a simple step, I'll say design thinking, I've written design thinking is a process for creating problem solving. Design thinking has a human-centered core. It encourages organizations to focus on the people they are creating for, which leads to better products, services, and internal process. So design thinking is a kind of it's a process where we try to find the solution for every problem. We cannot say that everybody are happy in our life. If we compare to a simple life, what we have, many are married person. And maybe after this seminar or after this talk, I might be having a big debate with my wife. So that is what we say is a problem. So everybody has a problem, and we need to find a solution for that. So how do we find a solution? And that is what this design thinking concept came. So it's a kind of process where we try to solve, and there are some steps involved in it. And through this design thinking concept, what is going to happen is that there is a perfect way how to solve a solution for any problems. So let's see step by step, like how the problems comes and how we engineers or how we technological people, or even a person who has the knowledge or has undergone this design thinking process, they can even find solutions very simply. So that is what I'm trying to explain in this talk. So let's go to the next one, design thinking approach. So design thinking approach is a human-centered approach to innovation. So it's a concept where, see, like as I told you before, we have to solve solutions for the problems. So it's not going to be a problem that is going to be with animals. Even we can sort out with animals, but I'm saying it's for the humans. So that is why you say it's a human-centered approach. And this design thinking has come like we have a lot of softwares, we have a lot of applications in companies. So there were before, I will tell you a story, like what happened and why this design thinking came in this industry. So many companies are there, as we know, a lot of companies are there, and many companies, maybe 15 years back, they were very famous, correct? We know many companies, they were very famous, but after some time, this company has vanished. We don't have any idea about this company. So where did that company go? These kinds of questions were there with other technology people and other companies. So even the many people, many are aware of the term or the company brand Apple. So Apple and Microsoft and many other companies, IBM, the big companies, they even our company. So for many companies, they follow this design thinking, and they are getting results from that. So let's see how do we get results and why we have to focus into the design thinking concept. So with this para, it says design thinking is a human-centered approach to innovation, which I said, like it's dealt with humans, and then through this approach, we are going to innovate or we are going to lead to a success rate. Then anchored in understanding customer needs. So in design thinking, we deal with people. So we will deal with people, we will check with the customers, what are their requirements or what is their exact need. Then rapid prototyping are all based for the engineers work, or the UI designers, they create some prototype and generating creative ideas, and that will transform the way you develop products, services, processes, and organization. So I'll give a small idea about design thinking. We all are aware of mobiles, or you can say even a remote. We all know that this remote, like if you go back 20 years back, you have seen remote with a lot of buttons on that, and it's very complicated. We all agree with that, right? So this remote has a lot of buttons, and even I can understand because I might have been with this technology, so I can understand better because I'm using this remote for a long time. But what about a person who hasn't seen this remote? I can think about my dad, or I can think about my mom. If I tell my mom, okay, mom, you put in this channel, you just increase the sound or volume, whatever. She can't do the way how I do it. So there is a kind of problem. Maybe some people understand this very well, but for some people it's a problem. And that is what we say, it's a problem. We cannot say whatever technology or whatever equipments or gadgets what we use is a rocket science. But when we create something, it should be used by everybody, correct? If we have to use the remote, it should be developed or designed in a way where everybody has to use it. Not only the youngsters can use it, because youngsters are very smart with that. They can do a lot of other things what our parents cannot do. So that's what I'm trying to say. Design thinking is a process where whenever we find a problem in something, we try to sit with the person. So example is we have a remote, and then In a family, there are 3 members, parents, and then one son. The son can use the remote very well, and he is very happy with that, and because most of the time he spends his time with this remote. What about the parents, the mom and the dad? When they find this remote, they always try to complain. What is this? Like, I cannot manage with too many buttons in this. So that is a problem. And now, when we create remotes, and that is what the new technology, when it came with technologies, now the smart technology came. So nowadays, when you see the remote, it is not with a lot of buttons. It will be having very minimal functionalities because the people are trying to make it or simplify the process, because what we had before, maybe it might be as scrap. Too many of features people won't understand. We solve with a lot of other problems in our home, and do we ever have the time to research on something which we can't understand? So that is what I'm saying. When we do something, we have to do a small sort of research, and that is what we do in design thinking. So it's a research job. So that's what I'm saying. Like when we say the example with this remote, the remote long years back, it was having too many of buttons. Nowadays, when we see the smart technology, we can just have a small touch, and we can have the very minimal functionality of buttons on that. So that makes the life better, right? And how did that came out? So that is through the design thinking concept. So people, the engineers, they do some research on it. They try to understand why the parents are not able to use it, or why the old people are not able to use it, or why some other people who might be having some other disabilities are even they're not able to use it. So that is the concept of design thinking. And even when we invent some gadget, we have to check the possibilities where even the people who are disabled, they also have to use it. So I'll go in deep on that later. That's the concept of design thinking. So nowadays what people do is, whenever they create something, they first do research in design thinking. With that research, they talk with people, they try to understand what are the pains, what are the gains of there. They try to understand the entire thing of that, and then they come up with a solution. And this solution will give a better technology. And let's see one by one, like how it goes on. So that's the intro with design thinking. Benefits. Design thinking can also help create the right environment for real and much broader understanding of the voice of the customer. It helps move beyond the monologue of research, and if incorporating prototyping and testing, begins an ongoing process of dialogue with current and potential customers. So what it means is that the benefits are like, with the help of this design thinking, as I told you before, we talk to the customers, we deal with the people, the right people. For example, there is a guy who wants to create a mobile app. The mobile app is to sell food, or to sell vegetables, or to sell fish. Now this is something, an app, a mobile app, where we have to buy and purchase the fish. So can anyone say that the technology people can have some idea about the fish? Maybe they might be eating every day in their home, or they might have seen the fish, but to know and understand the real business, the designers or the developers or the people who has to do the research in this design thinking, they have to go and meet the people outside. So that is what we do, the UX research guys. UX means user experience, and I'll take you that later. So what the UX guys does is that whenever we get a client in a company, we try to understand the business first. So first requirement always goes for the users. We have to understand who is the right user in this. And once we find, so as I told you an example of the fish business, so the client might have approached the company, and they are saying, okay, I want a mobile app and this is my business. I sell fish, and now I want to sell everything online. And people in companies, they don't have any kind of idea about it because they will only eat the fish. So that is where the research starts. So we have a team of UX researchers. So they go and meet the real people, because in companies, people just they do the white collar jobs and they just sit in the companies. And without meeting the people, they're never going to learn the business. So the US guy will go outside. He will go and meet the people. He will try to meet the people who buy the fish and people who sell the fish. And that is the only way how these technology people can learn the business, because this is something related to fish. I hope everybody are understanding, right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We are
So,
getting it. Carry
yeah,
on.
yeah, because I forgot to ask, because if I'm speed, you have to tell me if I'm speed, or if I'm slow, you have to tell me. So I'm okay, right?
Okay, sir. Perfectly all right.
Okay, perfect. So this company, US guy, has to go to the market. Market means the industry. He has to go, not the where we sell the fish. He has to go to the market. He has to find the people who are the buyers and who are the sellers. So sellers are the fish who sell the fish, the fisherman who sells the fish. The buyers are the common people like us who go and buy the fish. Now we do a kind of research, like we go and talk to the people. Okay, why do you want to buy the fish? Or what kind of fish you try to buy? Are people behind the expensive fishes, or are people behind the cheapest fish? So there are a lot of questions. If you check, many you can collect, correct? Many questions we can collect on that. So based on these questions, the US guy will create some quantitative research. These are the people, and this, that. And that is how we get some analysis or surveys, and then we do the research part. So let's see. So that is what in this dialogue we are writing about. If we use the design thinking concept, we can know we can get the understanding of the voice of the customer. This one. It helps more beyond the monologue of research. Means the client might be saying, the client may not be a fish wala. The client may be just a Gulf wala, and he might be saying, I will go to my Kerala and then I will start a fish business. Even the client might be not having much idea about this. So that is what I'm saying. That's why the US guy has to do a research, and it helps move beyond the monologue of research, which means when we interact with people outside, we learn a lot of other things. And if incorporating prototyping and testing, and after the research, we do the prototypes and testing. So that all things will deal later. So that's all with the benefits. So the benefits are, once again, design thinking benefits are, we get to know the best part of the business. In simple words, I can say, whatever be the business, whatever in your life, it can be a fish business, it can be a shoe business, it can be a cloth business, it can be anything in this world. First thing what you have to do is kind of analysis, because at the end of the day, only the users are going to use that, not the animals. If I say animals, even that's also correct. If a client is saying, I want to do a business in the veterinary, then again, we have to go and learn the animals also. So that's what I'm saying. Whenever you have to do something with this design thinking concept, we do a research and we meet the people. And that is what we know the customer very well. That's why we always say, you have to know your customer very well. Otherwise, you're not going to succeed in your business. That's the idea of that. Now, UI and UX. UI means user interface, and UX means user experience. This is the most like the hot or the very important topic in technology. I don't know whether everybody knows these terms, UI and UX, but whenever you see some job sites, because, excuse me, so because everybody's children or their siblings or their spouse will be working in some companies or in other fields. So somewhere you might have heard these terms, UI or UX. If you ask the computer guys, they will know it better, and they will say, oh, the UI, I know it. UX, I know it. It's user interface and user experience. So I'll tell you an example of what is UI and UX. There was a time, let's go behind, because now if I tell you what is UI and UX, you won't understand it. So let's go behind the technology. Many people, they know the designers, right? We know the designers. If you hear the term designers, you will understand, okay, this is the guy who will be designing something. Maybe he's an artist, or maybe he's a painter, or maybe he's the web designer, or maybe he's a graphic designer. So these people, like graphic designers or web designers, so before, when this IT information technology came, at that time, maybe in the 2003 and all, we had job requirements for graphic designers. So these are the people who design something in computer with the help of Photoshop software and all. They design, and the technology, again, every year, as you know, the technology was developing year by way, and when it reached to 2007, 8, and 9, what happened, these same graphic designers, their job was to design maybe a brochure or a poster or some kind of design works in the office. Then during 2005, 6, and 7, this website came as a boom. So people started running behind these websites. And that is how the term changed from graphic designer to a web designer, because when website came, it was a boom in the technology. I can even understand, because I passed out in 2003. So, so those time there were websites. Even I don't know how many, like that time it was something kind of like we were blessed people, like we were with the technology. So I can tell you each and everything on that. So during 2005, 6, and 7, there was a boom for the web design, for the websites. So that time only this job vacancy came. The opportunity came for people, they were hiring, the companies were hiring for web designers. So then when it came for the web design, then again in 2003, from 3 onwards, even the mobile was come in this technology. Now if you see, everybody are having big smartphones in their hand. Correct. People, like, think about your earlier times when it was in 2003, you may be using the Nokia 1100. And now you see the technology has changed a lot. People, everybody are very rich, I think. Everybody has an iPhone. Everybody has a Samsung Galaxy. They have tabs, iPads, everything. So maybe the technology has changed everything. Now people are not poor. In 2003, many people I've seen, they might be having a very small phone in their hand. And very, very small requirements, because the only thing they have to do is to make a phone call or send SMS. So those times the technology was, they will send offers for the SMS. So like this, the technology changed, and now when we came into this website business and the mobile business, that time, people were behind to develop applications for this website and mobiles. And what are these mobile and websites? These are interfaces. Interface means it is a platform where we have to get connected. I will simplify into more simple things. Again, I'll simplify. Interface means think about a mobile or think about a website. We all know what is Gmail, right? So Gmail has a login page. For the first time, whenever you take the Google or the gmail.com, You get a page in that where you have to type your user ID. You have a page or an option or a, we say that as an interface. The option for the username, the option for the password, and the option for the buttons is an interface. If you click on the button only, you will be entering into the main page of the email. Now, when you come inside the email also, what we see is that we see a lot of interface are there. Like we can see the buttons on the top side. There we can do the logout. The left-hand side navigation, we can see the inbox, send messages, you can compose the mail. So to be very simple, these things are interfaces. You have a header at the top where you see the logo of Gmail. You have some other things at the top right for an option to log out. Then on the left navigation, you have some other buttons, or you have certain links for the chat, or you have some links for the send inbox, create mail, then create mail is now composed. So a lot of things are there. So these things are interfaces, and that is why this term came as user interface. So these interfaces are being used by the users, and that's the term user interface. But in short, we say UI. Now, this UI was like it is there in the industry for a quite long time now, 10 years, and even now is very popular because as you know, I told you, everything is now based on website and mobiles and the gadgets. So we have to work on the interface. So now people, engineers, everybody are behind this interface to create interface. So what I do, I am an interface guy or I'm a UI guy. So the role of a UI guy is to develop the interface of the websites and mobiles. So the job roles will be UI designer or a UI developer. Now, who is a UI designer means he's a person who designs the, the mobile applications. Example, Facebook. Facebook is an application for the mobile. UI designer is the guy who designs the entire thing of the application of Facebook. Example, he will design the logo of Facebook. He will design the coloring of Facebook. He will create a guidelines for that with a perfect color, typography, style guide, everything. So these are the job roles of UI designers. Now, once this UI designer, they design everything, this has to be converted to a development phase, because just by designing, you cannot build an application. I'll just make it more simple. If I want to build, hold on, I think I got a message, hold on. No, that's fine. Okay, so yeah, so I was talking about if somebody or a client is saying, I want a mobile application, or I want a software for the mobile application, and think I am a designer. So I design something in a paper, and if I design all things are perfect, I have a login page, I have the home page, I have other features of the mobile application, and with this design, if I go to this in a piece of paper, if I go and meet this client and say, sir, this is the design for the mobile application, what you have asked for. Is that fine? So that is not a complete work. So that's only a part or a phase of that design. The design is just a part of that. Now this design has to go to the development team, and the developers, so the mobile developers, they will work on all these things. They will create the design. Based on the design, they will create the entire stuff. They will develop with their codings. And later on, this gets converted into an application, and that is what we see in the market. So that's the role of UI designers and UI developers. So there are two roles. UI designers will design everything, and UI developers will develop entire thing of the whatever design he has seen. The UI designer, he will develop everything, and he will make the product. Now let's see what is UX. This is a very important part of this design thinking concept, because if you see, I told you in the beginning, Design thinking is managed by, it can be managed by anybody, I said, correct? It can be managed by even a sweeper. It can be managed by even a beggar. It can be managed by a employee or from the IT field. But what happens is that normally people from the technology side nowadays, they are only following this concept. And that is why the use of user experience, because when I gave the topic to Jojo sir, I told is design thinking, but at least you should know about what is UI and UX, because the UX are the person who works with this design thinking concept. Correct. So I'll tell you how we work with this design thinking concept. So user experience means that it's an experience. In short, we can say it's just an experience. But what kind of experience? User experience means it's user who are going to use the technology. Correct. So if I get a pencil in my hand, okay, that's a very simple example I can say to you. Somebody has invented that pencil for some purpose, correct? Now, the use of the pencil is to write in a paper. Now, if I get a pencil of more than 20 centimeter diameter, will you be able to write in a paper with that pencil? The answer is no, because your hand can only fit an object that comes less than 1 centimeter, and that's the reason why the pencil's diameter is very small. You cannot get a pencil of 20 centimeter. So that's an experience. The researcher does some invention or does some research, and he comes to the solution. Okay, the use of it, first he will try to learn the use of the machine. The machine is the pencil. What's the use of the machine? It's the use of its writing. Now, when a people has to write, he cannot write with his legs. He has to write with his hands. So, what happens? He does an research and understands. Okay, this machine has to be something around half centimeter in diameter, and it should be in a perfect way where the fingers, it should come in our fingers, and then we have to have a grip to write the pencil. Okay, so that is what the UX guy does. UX guy is the guy who tries to simplify things. Example, I'll make it more simple. If I get a pencil of 20 centimeter, I said it before, if I get a pencil of 20 centimeter, I'm not able to write it because I'll be complaining of a lot of things. So my hand cannot support this pencil, or this pencil is having big weight. So these are the problems I am saying. So what the UX guy does, or the user experience guy does, is he tries to understand the problem first. So, okay, fine. He first tries to understand this is a pencil, and the purpose of this pencil is to write something, or a pen to write something. And for writing, people will be always writing with their fingers. So he does and research why this pencil, why this guy is complaining. So the complaint number one is, this is very fat. I cannot write it. It doesn't have a grip. I cannot hold it. Or, oh my God, the pencil's nib is very bad. It's not writing very well. So these are a lot of complaints you can get in your life. So these are the problems what we understand, and based on these problems, we come to a solution. Okay. So user experience is, so in IT industry, user experience guys are the guys who try to simplify process based on the users. So they will try to think not from their engineering mind. They will try to think from the user's shoe. They will try to enter into the user's shoe, and then they will try to write it. So that is what is UX. Hold on. Yes. I'm sorry, the screen was very small. Okay. Now, I'll tell you why design thinking. So it's a way of thinking and working, as well as a collection of hands-on methods. Design thinking revolves around a deep interest in developing and understanding of the people for whom we are designing the products or services. It helps us observe and develop empathy with the target users. So these things I think I have told you now. So it's a way of thinking and working as well as collection of hands-on methods. So we try to think a lot on design thinking. So that is what the use of design thinking is very important. Design thinking gives us a platform to think a lot of things, and I will take you in more detail with the process so you will understand. Just go on through these dialogues, and then it revolves around a deep interest in developing an understanding of the people. Like the design thinkers, they try to understand the people first, they try to understand what are their issues, and then they try to design the products. For whom are we designing? Because when we try to design an iron box, it is for the users. And who are the users? The users are the every general people. Hold on. Okay, I thought there was a message. Okay. So it helps us observe and develop empathy with the target user. So now Peter Bart defined design thinking as what is that? Making people want things and making things people want. So what does it mean? Making people want things, like they will try to understand what the people want, and then they try to make the things what people want. Understand? First, you have to try to understand the people first, and then you go behind the things and what the people want, and then only you will try to succeed in your life with the invention or whatever things you are going to find it out. Now, hold on. Okay. So let's see what are the features of design thinking. The features of design thinking are people-centered. It's so I have told all these things before. It's all like the people are going to use this part. Now it's highly creative. Because of design thinking, you will start thinking in a creative manner, and I'll just try to show you with examples in the next slides. It's a hands-on, like the features will give you and like as a hands-on experience, and it's iterative, like it's the multiple kind of things you can just see. Then finding simplicity in complexities, like whenever there are some kind of a big problems or big complexity things, you can find simplicity in that thing, and that is how we prove later. Then improving clients and end users' quality of experience. Improving clients and end users' quality of experience means with the help of design thinking, you can make a better solution. You can make a better invention, and that we'll see later. Creating innovation, feasible and viable solutions to real-world problems. As I told you, everywhere we have problems, and those are the real-world problems. It's not the real word, is world. It's a mistake. So it's a real-world problem. So what are the real-world problems? So creating innovation, feasible. So with the help of design thinking, you can achieve all these things and addressing the actual requirements of the end users. And with the plus point of this design thinking is you will understand and you will address the actual requirements of the end users, because if a guy has to buy a monkey, you cannot give him a buffalo. You have to give him monkey only. So that's how you address the actual requirements of the end users. Now, people over here are doing research, and I know everybody knows divergent and convergent thinking, so we'll just go fast on this part. So divergent thinking and convergent thinking are the things in research. What we IT people do is that divergent is a kind of, what is that? It's a spontaneous action. What we do is that if we get a new concept in our mind, in divergent thinking, what we do is that we don't think a lot on that. We try to think whatever comes spontaneous in our mind, all those points we'll note it down. It can be even the rubbish part, you can note it down. That is what divergent thinking. You can write, okay, fine, I've got a new concept. This thing has to be built as a software, or this thing has to be in the market. So I will start writing all the points, okay. And I have never heard of, because it's a new product, and I have never seen it, I have never known, and I don't know anything. but I have got some ideas from the client. So what I'll do is that I will just try to write in points. Okay, maybe this is something, a product used by this category of people. So I will write, okay, fine, this is a good thing, this is a bad thing, this is thing. And we will write all the scraps on this divergent thinking. And from that, so what we try to do is that it's a process of devising more than one solution for a problem statement. So there is a problem and we try to solve, we try to write more and more solutions on that, and then we try to solve this problem. And what is convergent thinking? It's the in a divergent thinking process. As I told you, we have wrote all the scraps. Maybe there are 10 to 20 points on that. In this 10 or 20 points, what we do is that we only try to take the valuable points of that. And that is what is convergent thinking in simple words. Means in the divergent thinking, we have written 10, 20 points on that. So this product is meant for this product is meant for that. In convergent thinking, we don't have to use that 20 points. In that, we will just screen it, we will learn it, we will understand what is this and why is this, and the best point only we'll write, and that is what is convergent thinking. So let's read what is this. Divergent thinking is the process of devising more than one solution for a problem statement. It is a thought process or method used to generate creative ideas by exploring many possible solutions. The concept of convergent thinking requires the design thinker to go through all the possible solutions thought during divergent thinking and come up with the correct solutions. And that is what I've said. In the divergent thinking, whatever things here, what are the possible solutions, what you have found, based on that, you will just screen or you will take only the required parts of that element, and then that is what is convergent thinking. So let's go to the next slide. So this is the, we can say the brain of design thinking process. So design thinking process, it comes with these 5 points. Like one is the empathize, second is the define, ideate, prototype, and testing. So maybe people from the research, they might have gone through this process. So empathize means it's a kind of understanding. Define, there are a lot of things in that, so I will go in detail. Define means we will try to, once we understand the problem, or once we understand the product, or once we understand the technology, we try to know the user first, because that is the first concept of design thinking. You have to know the user. Without knowing the user, you cannot do anything. So these things are done in Empathize method. Now, once you do this Empathize method, there are a lot of things inside that. So in the next slide, I'll just take you on that. Then you do the define part, and define part is an area where you try to create the personas of people, user personas. You try to do the empathy mapping. Then after that, you try to define something like, as I said, the user persona is there. You create the user personas. I'll tell you what is user persona later. So we create all these things, and with this user persona, we come to a scenario in the ideate phase. And now with this, in this ideate phase, what we do is that we try to find the solution, because maybe in this Empathize method, we have understood the user and the requirements very well, and we have understood the business very well. Then we jump into the define method, and define method is a lot of process in that. We'll take that later. Then we come to the ideate phase. After this define method, what we do is that we understand, okay, fine, this is what the user is lacking, because here a lot of things are happening inside the define phase, like qualitative research, quantitative research. So a lot of things are like surveys that happens in the define phase. Now what happens after the define phase, what happens, people come to the ideate phase. And ideate phase is the area where we, like, it's a kind of, we can say, convergent thinking. I told you before in slide, convergent. So convergent is the process of, we write a lot of things, and then from there we screen some of the very important things, and that is what we require. And with this ideate phase, we start creating the prototypes. Prototypes means design. And after we design, we go on to the testing phase. So all these things will make you more simpler. Let's go to the next slide. Now, empathize. What is empathize? Empathize means it's an understanding, how well you understand or how well you try to grasp in your mind what is this product and this is used by this person or that person and what is their business and why do they think and how is the way they think and all. There are a lot of things coming inside the empathize. So that is what I'm saying. It had to get into the mind of the client. You have to understand, because empathy means understanding. So you have to understand, get into the mind of the client, get into the mind of the user, or get into the mind of the customer. And in empathize method, we write the needs and what we want. So these things, the next slide is coming on that. Empathy is nothing, just an understanding. You understand well. So that's what with empathize. Now, let's simplify all these things, the empathize method. Empathize, we can even say the discovery phase also. Both are same, empathize or discovery phase. So it's a journey of discovery with the aim of getting to know user pain points, frustrations, and to gain an understanding of the user. So that is what we were discussing. In this empathize, we try to understand a user's requirement, or it's a kind of journey where we try to discover a lot of things like there is a user, this user may be this age, a particular age in an age group of 18 to 20 or 20 to 30 or 30 to 40. So a lot of things are there. We will go on that in detail. So we understand the frustration in empathize method, and then we gain and understand the user. And after we know what is the user's pain points and what is the user's frustration, then we come and understand, okay, fine, this is the user and this is what we exactly have to develop with this software or this application. Now, in this empathize, there are a lot of research methods. So one is heuristic evaluation, competitive analysis, qualitative research, and quantitative research. Again, the research people may be knowing all these things, but I'll just simplify things. What is heuristic? Heuristic evaluation means think about, I'll give an example on this. Empathize, heuristic evaluation, why we do the heuristic evaluation, and how do we do the competitive analysis, all these things. So I'll give you an example of, what is that? Anybody from the group can give me an example? Anybody can give me an example.
For example, let me suggest a case.
Yes.
In this COVID pandemic period, for example, breastfeeding mother may find it when affected with the COVID, may find it difficult to feed the child.
Correct.
So that may be a puzzling situation, which may have some tangible, practical solutions. We don't have that kind of experience earlier, so that the pediatrician or any technical people is working on that particular issue.
Correct. So this is Benedict, sir. Okay. So I have understood what you say. So let's go back to the slide and we'll just discuss on this. It's better that you have given me the topic. So we'll try to summarize, or we'll try to find how we try to solve this issue, because this is an issue what Dr. Benedict has said. This is a real issue. During this pandemic time, there are a lot of problems on a lot of things people are facing. It's not only the breastfeeding issues, even the common people are also facing a lot of issues. They cannot even travel outside, they cannot go out. And the best part is nowadays people are at home fighting with spouse. So everything's are going on. So let's see how we find the solution for this one. So in this research, what we'll do is that we'll consider this as a case study. The case study number one is during the pandemic time, how we try to solve this problem for all these issues. Even there are no proper, hold on, one moment. I need to take some water. Okay. So let's consider this is a case study. In this case study, we got this question. So what we do is that as a best UX researcher, what we try to do is that we try to understand the problem first. And as Sir said, there are lot of problems in pandemic. So we will first write the problem first. What is the problem? Problem 1, 2, like there might be some 1 to 10 problems with this issue. So we have to note it down. Nowadays, people do with computers, or you can even write in a paper. Write your 10 points. What are your problems? Because simply if we listen for the first time the requirement or the problem, I can also give you direct ideas from my side. It can be correct or it can be wrong. So that is why we have this design thinking method. So what we do is that, pardon? Okay. Yeah, people has to mute their mic. Okay. We'll go to the next building later. First we'll try to solve this problem. So problem number 1 is we write all the problems, like there can be n number of problems, maybe 1 to 10, we write it down. So these are the problems for the pandemic thing, we write it down. Now what we do is that we try to write the solutions also. Just for the namesake, we'll try to write whatever comes in the mind, and that is where we imply the divergent thinking. We write whatever things that comes in the mind as a solution. We write it down, 1, 2, 3, and we also list it down. Now, the second part is you try to understand the user who is facing the problem. So it's a woman who has given birth to a baby, and then she's having problems to, like, say as example, a woman is going outside or traveling, and she has to feed a baby. So there might not be even a secure place to feed the baby. So these are the things what we are trying to discuss. So we have to talk to the user first. So that's the woman. So that's not the only woman. Just take a scenario of 4 or 5 women. Just try to understand what are the problems. Ask them, why are you facing these problems? Why? So we get a lot of problems there. Note it down. Then second part, what we do is that we first take the heuristic evaluation. Heuristic evaluation is you ask from the experts. Heuristic means getting information or getting ideas from the expertise. So so we have the problem, we have written it, we have the solution from our mind, what we have done compared to this, what is that? I forgot the term. The convergent thinking, no, the divergent thinking, we have got that thing. And simply we have taken interviews with people, users, and we have taken and we have put it down. So the first part, what we do is that we have a heuristic evaluation, which means we go and meet the experts. Who are the experts? They might be the government people, or they might, or the counselors, or who are well known to take a decision, like what is the exact solution for this kind of thing. Because being as a US designer, I may not be having much connection with women, or I may not be having much connection with this problem. So what I do is that I try to meet people outside the market who are well known over there in the society. and who is capable of giving me a solution for this. So I go and meet this person. I discuss with this person and ask him, yeah, this is what the problem, what people are facing now during the pandemic here. So can you give me a solution for this? And that is what, from the expertise advice, I get the heuristic evaluation done. Now, second part is the competitive analysis, which is not required in this case study because we don't have to compete with anybody. So these things comes for the software things, because this thing comes for the, like example, we all order foods from outside with the application Swiggy, Uber Eats, Zomato. So maybe there is another client is coming and saying my product is something else, and I want to develop the same similar to this Swiggy, Zomato, and Uber Eats. So what we do is that we try to take this case and we try to do a competition analysis. So who are the competitors? For this client, he's going to start the business for the first time, or already he has the business, but he is not getting famous as Swiggy, he's not getting famous as Zomato, etc. And this client comes to us and says, okay, I have a problem. I even have a food software. It's not running how it runs for Zomato and Swiggy. So what I do, give me a solution for that. And that is what we do, the competitive analysis for this guy. Now let's come back to the same case study with this woman. Qualitative research is again, we just check what is the quality thing in this. So I met a person who is well known in the society. So I am asking him the advice, I'm getting the quality thing from him. And then I do a survey. That survey comes under the quantitative research. So quantitative research is something like a lot of questions we will be asking. So based on that questions, like example, as I told you, I met a well expert guy who can help me to find a solution to for this woman during this pandemic year. So I asked him a lot of questions. Example, what is the security for women in our state? Even though it's pandemic time, how many of the women they are facing this issue? So I get a result or a survey or an analysis I get, this is something 5% of the people are suffering this, or this is something that 10% of the people are suffering, 20%, 30%, example. I get the analysis like this. Now, again, I ask another question. I'm doing research on this. There is a problem, and what is the feedback of the women, and what are they complaining, and how many percentage of the people are complaining? So all these things, I get an analysis report. So based on the questions, I can even show you an example how the quantitative research happens. You can see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what Dr. Benedict said is these are the project goals. This is about the problem. This is the target audience, we say. Yeah, these are the target audience. So in this, the target audience can be like the normal peoples in a home who are suffering this issue or who are facing this issue. So what are the problems? We write, as I told you, like we write the problems 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is based on some other application, and here so we write the real problems what the women are facing. Then even we write the solution. We write the solution as 1 to 7, or like it can be more than 7. It's not only 7 or less than that. Whatever you get a solution, just write it down. Writing means you discuss with the the expertise. Now, this is for the design process in design thinking. Discover means the empathies. So empathies, we'll see what is the empathies method. Empathies method is we will write the user journey first. What are the pain points? What is the user, the women are facing? So based on that, we do the evaluation based with this heuristic evaluation, competitive analysis, qualitative research, and quantitative research. Now, with the help of experts, I told you, I met a person who is expert in this, and he has given me a lot of ideas. Okay, fine. And I have completed my heuristic evaluation here. Now, what happens is I come to the competitive. In this scenario, we don't need this. Forget it. Now, what are the quantitative surveys, what I was discussing now? So quantitative survey means, I'll give you an example of what kind of questions we ask. Normally, for the, like with the people or the main users, we ask questions like, where can you find the bottlenecks in your current warehouse operation? This project is for the warehouse. So we can also ask questions based on this. What are the bottlenecks, or what are the difficulties you're facing during the pandemic year? So we can write these much of the people are facing with these much of values. 20% are like this is an issue, or like some people are not complaining, that is 15%, and some people like this is because of the government. They are not giving us the perfect idea for this. So we write the numbers over here like this and that. Now there is another question again, do your workers spend a lot of time retrieving goods in the warehouse? So in this case study, we can say, like make some questions like what the people are facing, and some will be saying yes or no, or some might be the neutral part, like they are okay with even there is a pandemic, I'm not bothered because that is what the government is saying now. I'm not even bothered, let the people suffer. What did Modi do? When he brought this demonetization, what he did, the next night only is telling to people that from tomorrow you won't be having this 500 notes. The government can decide and do anything. So that's why I'm saying some people will be having the neutral part. Then again, questions will be with the yes, no. So we get the percentage here with the yes or the no and with the neutrals. And this is what is quantitative analysis. So we are done with that. Now, then it comes with the define phase. Define phase is the second phase in the design thinking. So what we do here is we create user personas. Now, what is user persona? Personas means it's nobody, it's a person. And that is what we write the person's information, or we write the person's age or his characters, you can say, or the attributes of a person. What are they? So like that, based on this, what Benedict sir is asked. So I go and meet the expert, that is the heuristic evaluation. Then I have done I met a lot of women who are facing, I have done the quantitative analysis, I've got the surveys, I've got the percentage. Now what I'll do in the define method, I'll create the user persona. And this is somewhat similar to the divergent thinking. We write a lot of things that is coming in our mind. So user persona means it's nobody, it's a person. Example, a person is there, Freddy. Or in this case study, we can say, we can name a girl who is Ashwati, and she is 40 years old, or she is 30 years old, and she lives in Trivandrum. She's a female, and she's a housewife. Now, Ashwati is having a problem, she is facing with this scenario, what Benedict sir has said. So I'll write some points over here. Now, I'll try to write the goals of this person, this Ashwati. What are the goals that this Ashwati is trying to achieve? This is the real research. Please concentrate on this. So the goals, what I'll ask Ashwati is, Ashwati, what are you facing? What you want exactly? How you want the system to be, and what are things? So Ashwati will come with 100 things. Correct. She will come up with 100 things, and those points we'll note it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the goals of I've taken from one person, that is known as user persona. Now I'll write the frustration, what Ashwati is facing. So I'll ask to Ashwati, what are the frustrations you're facing in this scenario? So she will again give me lot of other points. Maybe it's 4 or 5 or 6. Now I'll ask again to Ashwati, what are the challenges you're facing? So she will tell these are the challenges. We are facing a lot of issues in this state. Maybe the government is wrong, or maybe the system is wrong. Somewhere we have to work on this. So that's the challenges what we get. We write it down on this. And then we write the personality. Who is the personality? The personality is an introvert or an extrovert, or he is a creative kind of person, or a technical, or he's a, for the Ashwati case, we can write she is a introvert or extrovert, she is open-minded, or she is a social girl, like that we can write examples. And devices is not required because this thing was, this research was for the applications. So we asked, so we write that this Freddy person is using what all the time? Mobile, iPad, desktop. Same. Nowadays, everybody use mobile. So I can also ask to Ashwati, which are the gadgets you are using? Is it a mobile, or is it a desktop, or is it a anything, iPad, etc. Why I'm asking is that I want to understand where, because if Ashwati is having a problem with all this pandemic scenario, I can even create softwares. Understand? I can create softwares for this because this is a problem. What Benedict sir has said, it's a real problem. So with the help of software, maybe I can succeed in this. So that's why I want to know what all gadgets this girl is using. Mobile, iPad, desktop, anything. Okay. Now, in this defined phase, we never take only one persona. We take 2, 3, 4 personas. Okay. So this is persona number 2. I'll meet another girl, that is Ashwati 2 or some other name, and then I'll ask the same things repeating. It will be repeating like, what are the goals? What is your goals? What is your frustration, challenges, personality? What kind of, are you an extrovert or introvert? So based on this, in the defined phase, what I do is that I get the user persona. User persona means the characters, all 2, 3 people where I've taken interviews and I have understood this is what they are facing. Then once I do all these things, I will jump into the empathy mapping. Now, empathy mapping, hold on, I'll go to the slide. So it was better I got that case study. So you can see it, like what is that. Now we have, so these things we have taken. So forget this. Then the quantitative research I told you, it's a survey. Then defined phase. Defined phase is, that is what we are going through now. We have to define things and we try to, so the things which is involved in defined phase are the user personas and empathy mapping. So user persona we have seen. So personas are fictional characters which you create based upon your research in order to represent the different user types that might use a service. Then so you have seen that in case study, so forget this. Now, notes for the personas, then the empathy mapping. So empathy mapping is visualization used to articulate what we know about a particular type of user. It externalizes knowledge about users in order to create a shared understanding of user needs and aid in decision making. I'll make it simple. Forget all these things. If I read it, you'll get bored. So let's go to the example of empathy mapping. So empathy mapping is a kind of research where we have met this person, right? We have taken 2 interviews. One is the Ashwati and second is Ashwati 2. And some are 30 years and another girl is of 20 or 25, 35, 45, whatever. Now, again, in this empathy mapping, what I'll do is that I will try to understand what is the think and feel. Think and feel means what a person thinks, a normal person or whoever I met with for the interview. What does this person think about this problem? What is the kind of feel I get in my mind whenever I think about this problem? So those parts I can write it here. In this case study we are writing, I want all the work to be completed on time. So that's a requirement for this user. Maybe the Ashwati might be saying, I want to get this stuff done immediately. And you all know this won't happen because it's our government. Forget it. So Ashwati will be saying, I want to have all this option. I want to get this thing. I want to get this and that. So how will I find the right solution? And I want. So these are the things what we write here in Think and Feel. Then here, why would you trust them? It's in this scenario, what here means, whenever I listen to a software or a company, example, maybe Swiggy. Swiggy is a company who is complaining that their product is not running well. So they have approached the company, and the US guy is doing the research, and he has reached to this level. So now he will ask that person, what are the things you hear from these problems? So maybe there might be other companies, or maybe there might be people who are complaining. Maybe the product is not good. So these kind of questions we write over here. So even for Ashwati, we can write, Ashwati, what are the things you listen, or what are the things you hear based on this topic? So she can give you some examples, or the numbers she can give you here. Now C is, how do you see this problem? So those points we write it down here. So what do people say, and what do people do for this? Is there a solution, or is there that just the government is listening to this and not doing anything? So those things also we write it. And how do you see this problem? Mostly people have to go in person outside. They cannot, if they are at home, they have all their privacy. They can do the breastfeeding there. But the question is, when they go out, what is the problem? So that's what, like, what are the things? And what are the pains? The pain points. When you go outside, what are you facing? So those things we will write it down for Ashwati. Now, what are the pain points? There might be some stages where we can tell the gain points. So that also we can write it down. And this is what is exactly the empathy mapping. Like maybe you have learned in your syllabus, but this is what the exact thing, what happens in empathy mapping. And this is just, I've written it. If normally what we do is that we create charts and maps, and we represent all these things in a design manner. Like we write the pain points, and we write all the points, and also, so those things I don't have now with me. Let me try if I can get the empathy mapping focus over here. Empathy mapping, Vex. Okay. Yeah, this is what I told you. Sorry. So empathy mapping is, I was see what the people says, what the people does, what the people thinks, feels, and this is the person who is trying to say, with whom I was interviewing. So this person is saying about the sales, I was expecting something different. So this is the way how we also do and write. Here I didn't do it. Just forget this. Just I've written it points. Then comes the third phase of design thinking. That is the ideate phase. So ideate. I think we are running lack of time. So let's go fast. So ideate phase is the third method. Now, what are things you have done in your defined phase? You have done the user persona, you have done your empathy mapping. And now you have a lot of information now, correct? You have got a lot of information about these people. With the problems we have written, everything is here. Now, based on this, we write that is the convergent thinking in ideate. We try to screen things. So we write a scenario. So where we wrote the user persona 1 and 2, in this we write the real example. In the user persona 1, Ashwati wrote some lot of things over there. Based on that, and the persona 2, based on that, in the ideate phase, we'll write the real scenario. There we will write, there is a girl, Ashwati. There is, she's facing all these problems in her life. During this pandemic year, what all things were there? And what is the solution we get from based on this analysis? And we write a scenario, the real scenario, we write it down, and then we create. And these things are for the engineers, like before designing something, we create storyboards. So storyboards will be something like this, like we do in a sketch, or we can do even these things, we can even do in computer softwares. Nowadays, there are a lot of softwares which provide us to do the sketch works. So before, people used to do in papers, they'll draw, they'll take the photos, and they will do like this. Based on this, we will create the user flow. This is for the technology people. Like so, this is a requirement, a project. So who is the user? So how the user goes through it. Example, there is the application Swiggy. This Swiggy has a problem, or like we can go back to this Ashwati case. So we have finished doing our defined phase, all the research we have done. Now in this I-did phase, we have got a solution because we have taken the scenario part. So on that scenario, what we do is that now we try to create a solution, and we write here like this. There is a user, example Ashwati, she has a problem. So maybe we have found a solution, and I am saying for Ashwati, I have found an application. The application will be something like this. With the help of this application, whenever Ashwati goes out, she has to find a perfect place for all these adjustments, what she's facing. For that, she gets an app. That is an app she is using. She clicks on her location. Location is Trivandrum. Now she can even, these are just examples, okay? She can also write from and destination, from where and where I've traveled. Where am I now? Now I am in Trivandrum. I want to go to reach Nalanjira. And what is the distance? Now, the software will be something like this. I have created, based on Ashwati's feedback, I have written, okay, Ashwati wants to travel in this time, morning 10 o'clock to evening 4 o'clock. She will be busy from Trivandrum to this area. So she has a requirement. She wants to get places where she can feed a baby, example, or like what all problems she has, she can. So I'll give an option like to Ashwati, okay, when you start from this time to this time, I'll give you an option in this app will find you some places and get you an information on the places where you can go and do your stuff over there. So it's better for Ashwati to know, okay, fine, with the help of this app, what I can do. So this user flow is based on that. So user is Ashwati. She comes and sees the walkthrough screens. Walkthrough screens means that's just an advertisement. Forget it. Then she'll come to the home page of this app. Then she will search for the services. Example, she will search for like what all things she has to do. She has to search. Then what is the places she has to travel, and where all places she will find the option to do her services like that. So based on that, I have to create the user story. And this is how it looks for the software applications for the mobile or for the web we create. So don't go behind it, you will just go mad. So then this is another kind of research is card sorting. Some people in technology, in our companies, what we do is that before, see, example, there is a website, like there is a home page. There is an about page, there is a services page, there is a contact page. So this doesn't come simply. We try to, like with the help of these papers, stick pads, what we do is that we write the requirements here and then we stick it on the board. And this is what we do as card sorting. So maybe the order will be different, or maybe, but at least we try to get an idea, okay, fine, this is the website and this is how we have to do all the options in the website. So this is how it works with the card sorting. Now, next part in the I-did phase is the information architecture. That is very important. So before we saw the user flow, but in information architecture, what we do is that we write the detailed part of the application. As example, I told about the Ashwati case. She is using an application like for this pandemic year. So once she signs in, she will have to sign in. She will come to the home screen. Then what are services? So these things are in detail. So this is the very important of the application for creating softwares, or for the application we create the information architecture. Now, once all this process, like the first was the Empathize method, second was define, we did that surveys. Then we came to the IDIT phase where we did what is that? In the IDIT phase we did scenario, we did the card sorting, we did the user flow, information architecture. Now we have to come to the design phase. So design phase is where means in the steps I've written, empathize, define, IDIT, prototype. So prototype is another word, design phase, and this is where we draw the low fidelity. You might be hearing these terms: low fidelity wireframes and high fidelity wireframes. So low fidelity wireframes and high fidelity, I'll show you from this this presentation. Maybe this one, yeah. So design phase, this is where we create, see, this is the, this one. Like low fidelity means we will just give the very basic information of the application. Maybe this is even, we don't try to draw the logo because this is very quick in action, we can say. Because when we did the research in the define and IDIT phase, we have to present the solution to the client. Because the client has given us a problem, he wants to develop something, and even Benedict sir said, okay, we have a problem with Ashwati. Now, if I am telling you the solution, whatever done with the user flow in the IDIT phase, now at least I have to show it to the client. This is what I've created. So I don't want to spend my time, because all these things were my researchers. Based on the research, if I spend time designing the entire stuff like this, and tomorrow the client is saying, what research have you done? What have you given to me? You've just wasted my time. So that's why we don't try to design and spend time on the design stuff. We first create the low fidelity wireframe first. So in that, it will be very simple, very simple. So the simplest thing we'll just put here, like the logo will come like this and this. And so we will present this stuff to the client first with the low fidelity wireframe. So there is a logo over here. Just imagine it's a logo. There is this option. There is an option for the user login. There is an option for an action button. It can be login. So these things are known as low fidelity wireframes. This is the high fidelity one, this one. And in between low fidelity and high fidelity, there is one more thing, that is mid fidelity wireframe. I didn't write it, just I'm saying. So this we can say it is a very low fidelity wireframe. This thing is a mid fidelity, because at least I've written the logo. Here I haven't. So this we can say is a mid fidelity wireframe. And this thing is the high fidelity wireframe. That's the exact design. And high fidelity wireframe will look something like this. This is what you people always do in your mobiles. Because whenever you take Facebook, whenever you take WhatsApp, whenever you take some other application, you are seeing the best designs in your mobile, correct? But before creating this design, there was a lot of pain behind it. The people do work like this. They'll first create something in the blogs. They'll write, this will be the logo, this will be the images, this will be the input values, this will be the call to action button, like this, something like that. And after this stage only, we get the final designs. So don't think that design is very simple. Never ever think like that, because we always use Facebook's, WhatsApp, and some other application, and we spend a lot of time and we think these are all simple things. No, 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 no. These are not simple things. There are a lot of efforts behind this. So that's why I said design thinking, you have to even learn that UI and UX. Now, once you create this product, the last stage is the testing phase in design thinking. Testing phase stage is where, see, based on the problem or based on the issues, we did a research, then based on that define, edit, and prototype, we have done something. Now we have to present this in front of the client. Okay, fine. I have whatever, sir, you have told me. You have told me to create a fish software, fish selling software. You have given me an option to find solutions for the people who are facing during this pandemic here and develop this software. Now you go and use it, and that is what is known as testing phase. So somebody has to use it, because I am just a normal user, US guy, based with this very limited knowledge. I have met only like, see, normally we have to meet 10-20 people, but I have just taken 1-2 user scenarios, 1-2 user personas, and that is not even required to find a big solution like this. So that is why I'm saying, once you, based on your research, whatever is there, you did that, and now you're coming with an, what is that? Yeah, a software application. It comes from the Play Store, Google, or the Android device what you use. You go to the Play Store. Now you are downloading this software. Now these are the real users who is going to use my software, because I did my research. I did the low fidelity, high fidelity wireframe. Now even I have designed it. I have given it to the development team, the mobile developers. They have also worked on that. Now, finally, this product has come out. Once a product comes out, somebody has to test it, because that is a very serious thing. So this is what we people do, a testing thing in companies, and then we bring the product out, and then even people like us, we use the products, use the software's application, and we are very happy. And in this case also, there are some people think after doing all these things, my thing is going to be the top in the market. That is a very wrong thing. There may, even you have done your user research, there may be problems or there may be issues with what you created. So you cannot say it. So those things we get in reviews. Example, there is an application, what is that, the OYO, we book the hotels. So OYO is an application for us. We are the normal people. We have to use, when we travel, we have to book the hotels. So what we do, okay, fine, I cannot go and search for each and every hotels in the Trivandrum or in the Kerala region. So what I have to, there is a service provider named OYO. And if I install this OYO in my mobile app, mere ko pura mil gaya. I have got everything in this. I can find now every hotels everywhere. So that is what what we do. Like we search in OYO, and now what happens? I'm using this application in my mobile OYO. I have searched for the hotel rooms based on my filter. My filter will be like my prices, my whatever features I want. I have booked. I have clicked it. Then I have made a search, and then I have got, based on my filter, means example, per day I want a room of 2,000. Or per day I want more, less than that. So I did the filter part. Now I have got all the result in my mobile app. So I have got 10-15 hotels, and you know what? I am not happy. I'm not happy. So that is the time where I put my reviews. For every application, hold on. Okay. For every application, I'll just make it short. For every application, there is an option for reviews. Now everybody knows reviews, because there are Google reviews, there are any app reviews. Just put it. If you are not interested, you will put your comments on that. I am not satisfied with this app. It's very bad, and I'll put a rating of 1 out of 5. So like this, multiple people, when they put their negative reviews on this product is going to go flop. And this is how the product goes flop, and this is how the product goes if the rating is very high. So these things are based on this testing phase. Like there are a lot of other testings also. This I'm saying, once we develop the application, there are like testing, like A/B testing are there. There are some other testings, tools are there, like HubSpot and all. So these things we have to do, and even when the product is out, we can take the product from the Play Store or from the iPhone, we can, Apple Store, we can take, and once we are not satisfied, we can put the reviews for the negative. So what normally companies do is that when they develop a software, they will wait for 1 year. They'll wait for 1 year and they will check what is the reviews, whether the review is positive or not. If the review is very bad, then there's a serious issue with that application. Again, this client has to go back and find out why there is a negative review, why everybody are sending me bad comments. And this is only because my app is not good, because if there is a problem, so that's a problem. So that is what we do in testing phase. We test it based on the reviews, we rate the app, and once we get a lot of positive reviews, we say this product is going to be the best in the world. And this is how design thinking gives you a better solution and a better method. See, by simply if I say design thinking is something that will give you a better solution, it's nothing. Now you might have understood what is design thinking, what are the different phases, what are the things we do as a research part, and how this product is coming into the market. So hope everybody has got the concept. Just a conclusion part, let me read it. The method of design thinking melds an end user focus with multidisciplinary collaboration and iterative improvement. Okay, iterative improvement means, see, there are 5 stages in design thinking. And I told you, even after this product has come to the market, there are negative reviews. So this product is going to get a flop. So maybe this US guy has done a very good research, but still the client is complaining, your product, your whatever this company has developed, I'm fed up of this thing. You have not brought this up to the mark. So I'm not happy. So that's why this is not a one-step process. Empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and testing is not a one-step process. Once we get the review and if it's not coming up to the mark, then again, this is a repetitive process. That is why we say it's an iterative improvement. If the product is not good, this process will continue again from the define process. Because already we understand the users, so again we will go back. So it's like a cycle. The design thinking, we say it's 5 steps, but 5 steps is not going to end. Once we have some problems, again, this will come back to the company and the client will say, there is something bad or some issues are there. So again, the US guy will understand the problem, they'll read the reviews, and then he will again try to do the entire stuff, and then he will come up with another plan. So always, as we say, we have a plan A, plan B, so he will use the plan B. And another thing is that it is not even a must that we have to follow these steps in a 1, 2, 3 order. Like only after the empathies we can do the define, or only after this define we can do the ideate. No. Even we can start doing the ideate or define or whatever. Like it all depends on the application or the problem what we are facing. So it's an iterative improvement and it's a powerful tool for achieving desirable, user-friendly. So that's the very important point. Whatever we do, it should be a user-friendly one. And with this iterative improvement, it is going to become a very powerful tool for achieving desirable and user-friendly and economically viable design solutions and innovative products and services. So that's all with this talk with design thinking and UI UX. So let's wind up and let's wait for the FAQ.
Thank you, Markkose, for your presentation. Shall I continue with some of the suggestive solutions for the case that I have suggested?
Sure.
Maybe interesting. And suppose that a woman who is bleeding is affected with the COVID-19 virus,
Correct.
and at the time she has to look after the child also.
Correct.
One mechanism that we can have have in our mind is that a kind of fittings by which we can connect the breast, by which we can vacuum suction mechanism with a bulb, and that bulb is associated with maybe having a 50 ml to 100 ml capacity, maybe leading to a nipple which could be inserted to the mouth of the child, so that the child and with the proper protective layers, the child can directly consume the milk.
Correct. Yeah.
Or the same thing could be kept for some time at a moderate temperature for a few hours, so that it be used 2 or 3 times per day.
Yeah. So that is what the solution. When I said, when we get a problem, we do all these things in the defined stage. Now when you set the solution, so this solution didn't come in a day, correct? No solution comes in a day. So normally this is a process, and
Ideation.
yeah, exactly. That comes in the ideate phase. So now you have given me a solution. There is some kind of disturbance.
Another solution is that government gives some legal binding for some milk producing women to increase the quantity of oxytocin for a mild amount, so that the produced milk will be doubled.
Correct. Okay.
Every pediatric unit of the child care centers may have a milk booth or something like that, breast milk lending mechanism, something like that. If that is minimized, that also could be thought about.
Yeah. See, I am not that expertise in that field. So as a UX researcher, what I was trying to explain was the process. Now we are talking about the solution, and that is what I'm trying to say. In this design thinking, what we do is that when there was a problem, we tried to learn or study this problem, and there were some kind of medical people who were investing their time to do all this analysis. So maybe they might have not done this design thinking concept, but if we compare all these things, we can say it's a part of design thinking concept. So when you try to do things based on this design thinking concept with these phases, what always happens is that we get a better solution. And maybe these might be the solutions what you're saying. And I know better, the medical people, they won't try to go behind the design thinking concepts, but they might have got some kind of solution. And how is that? They might be having their own process. They will speak to their experts. They will speak to other doctors. They will speak to the real users, and they will try to understand the problem very well. Now they will write down, or they will understand these are the solutions what we have to provide. If we do in this way, we can just get this problem solved. So this is also a part of design thinking, but normally we cannot say, because I don't think doctors do things using the design thinking. So let's conclude like these things. If you implement design thinking, you can even get a better solution like this. Yes.
Congratulations, Markkose, Mathew, sir. The session was really eye-opening. The conclusion is this: when we are facing a real problem, so we need to think systematically, compartment-wise, analyzing each component systematically, analyzing all the probabilities, and systematically reach a solution. Am I correct?
Exactly. So that is the answer. Design thinking gives us a proper system. Like if you follow this system, that is what I'm saying. Even for the normal user, it is not only for the technology people. Even for the teachers, or even for the housewives, if they understand this concept, they can also do a lot of things with this systematic method.
Yes, sir. So the session was really useful to us. Even though you are an engineer, you are an educationist. There is an educationist in you, sir, and your session has inspired a lot. And the YouTube telecast of this video would be beneficial to thousands, we hope, sir.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for spending your valuable time with us.
Sure.
Any more queries from anybody? Check the chat box, please.
No, sir. No queries in the chat box.
Now, the other scholars raise some questions. or some clarification so that it will be more beneficial for all the whole group?
Yes, yes, yes. If you have anybody from this group or from this team, if you have any kind of questionnaires or like queries, you can just always connect me. I will share my emails and my information to Joju sir.
Sure,
That
sir.
is what I can do, and let's see, like if anybody has any questions, we can just have a solution for that.
After hearing from you, sir, I have an idea being generated in our mind. Our classroom practices, we actually depend upon the action research.
Correct.
Research that is field based, which will provide immediate solutions to the day-to-day problems where there is not resource for research taking so much of time, so that solutions will be found out by the respective practitioner, practicing teacher.
Okay, okay.
When I heard about this design thinking, this design thinking is have a kind of a similarity to a great extent with the classroom based action research.
Correct. That is very good to hear that. Yeah.
So design thinking would lead to divergent ideas, creative thinking, and naturally to new startups and inventions and
Correct,
innovations.
correct,
Am I?
exactly.
Okay.
Correct, correct. Yes, right, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yeah,
Thanks a
yeah.
lot.
Okay.
Some of the tricks that is being used by women in our kitchen, tricks and techniques used by during cooking in common practices.
Yeah. See, like people try to always find easy methods. That is what is about design thinking. Because maybe the people invent new things, but what happens always, the user sometimes they feel difficulty to handle that. And that is why, as Benedict sir said, housewives, when they get something and they're not happy with that, definitely they'll come up with solutions and they will create their own inventions.
Such kind of inventions are not being properly recorded and
Yes,
analyzed.
we have to record it. We have to record it. We have to keep a history of that.
Sir, shall we move towards the concluding part?
Yes, sir. Please.
Hello, research scholars. We can move on to word of thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, Markkose, Mathew, sir, for such a great talk. It is a new topic for most of us, and your talk has definitely stimulated our insight. Thank you so much, sir, for giving a wide knowledge about design thinking, user interface, and user experience. With the help of the examples which you have related to our daily life, like fish business, Google, Gmail, Facebook, Pencil, some case studies, etc. You explain the topic, which help us to understand the topic more clearly. Also, you explain different research methods also. It also help us a lot. Thank you so much, sir. Now, moving to vote of thanks, let me invite Mrs. Deepa, research scholar, Mathew Training College, for proposing the vote of thanks. Over to you, Deepa.
Thank you, Sanla. Good evening, everyone. Let me first of all thank Almighty for this amazing opportunity. At the very outset, let me express my gratitude to Mr. Markkose Mathew, sir, lead UX UI designer, Technopark, for the present highly educative program on design thinking. The presentation was truly beneficial for us to integrate 21st century skills to solve problems in the present high-tech world. On behalf of everyone present here, I thank Mr. Markkose Mathew, sir, for such a mind-blowing, innovative and thought-provoking presentation. Thank you so much, sir. Next, we are happy to mention our obligation to Dr. K.Y. Benedict, sir, Principal, Mathew Training College, for his valuable guidance and motivation in our all research activities during this pandemic situation. On behalf of everyone present here, I also express my sincere thanks to our principal, sir. Next, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our research coordinator, Dr. Joju John, sir, for the motivation, assistance, and guidance for conducting the program. Thank you, dear sir.
Thanks.
Next, I express my sincere thanks to all research guides from various states, teachers of Mathew Training College, research scholars, M.Ed and B.Ed students from different colleges who are participated in the program. Thank you all for your presence and active participation. See you next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Deepa. Dear participants, please fill the feedback form. The link is shared in the chat box. Your certificate will be received in your email ID, which you have entered in the feedback form. Thank you so much for your valuable participation. Please join us on next week for another great webinar in our Insight In-Depth Invited Talk series. Thank you so much. See you all next week. God bless you all. Stay safe. Thank you once again. Now, we have come to the end of the webinar. If possible, please stand up for the national anthem. Thank you.
तव शुभ नामे जागे, तव शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तव जय गाथा। जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ansi ma'am.